Hey everybody, welcome to the Retro Repair Roundup, episode number 58, maybe, unless I screwed the numbering up, which is entirely possible.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe is very kind this week. He's letting me hop in and play host, and so we will do what we always do, which is we will go around and make introductions. Joe.
Hey, everybody, it's Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. I'm weird today. Anyway, you can go to jcm-1.com if you want to hear about or find out more about me. Javier.
Hello, everybody. I'm Javier Rivera. I'm Hub Master, and I'm not weird. I promise. Alrighty, Sean.
Well, thanks, Javier. I'm Sean Fahey, also known as A2 Fan, and I am a application collector at large.
Trina.
Hi, I'm Trina of Trina's Technobabble. I'm wearing a mask because I heard 39 states have rising COVID numbers, and just in case my firewall doesn't protect me from a virus, I'm being double vaxxed.
Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Hill. I'm half of the Tech Dungeon. My wife, who's not here right now, she's upstairs working on new designs. She's the other half.
Very cool. Mike is our special guest tonight, and we'll talk to him about all kinds of fun things here in just a second. But let's go ahead and let's take a moment to acknowledge the fun fans that have taken time out of their evening to spend it with us. So Francois is here, Ryan from Everything is Broken Garage, Trina's Technobabble is in chat. Oh, you just can't get enough. The Tech Dungeon, hey, thank Mike for having your client parked over there. Wembit Fever Dreams is here. CDI, Dave from Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Eric Rangel, our good friend Kat from K-Fest is here. DJ Craze, and I'm sure that, Racky Hill is here as well. And I'm sure more people will filter in as we get started.
And Francois is not here. If you saw his message, he said, feeling sleepy, we'll catch tomorrow.
That's fine. That's fine. It's not the airport. You don't have to announce departures.
Oh, okay.
But normally kind of what we do on the show is we kind of dedicate the front half of the show, kind of talk to our guest, see what they've been up to, introduce our fans to them, and hopefully create new fans for them as well. So, Mike, why don't we take a couple minutes? Let's talk about, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
All right. Well, I'm a old-time programmer. I started programming for a living out of college, and was always into computers, obviously from the get-go. So I kind of started off on the Atari side, not on the Apple.
Boo Atari.
Yeah. I stuck with the Atari pretty much through the ST systems, and started learning to program and going to college with using my ST. And then eventually I succumbed to MS-DOS and Windows. But my wife and I started a little side hustle, the Tech Dungeon. And since I've always been into computers and stuff, and she's always kind of encouraged it, we used to be both part of our Atari users group here in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. So
Ohio represent.
Yeah, she was the treasurer. I was president for a few years. And she kind of watched me getting into some of this retro stuff using 3D printers and things, which I've been doing for probably about 10 years now. And she started getting into the design, and we started working on projects together. So she's been doing a lot of the 3D design. I do the electronics, the software. And we've had a lot of fun going to the different shows and just having tables and meeting people, selling stuff. And just that's how we met Ron. I think we first met you, at East, and then we met you. We saw you again at Midwest and East.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah.
Yep. We just keep bumping into each other. I'm like a bad penny. Keep turning up.
Yeah. So that's just kind of been the thing. We've been doing this kind of retro stuff, just trying to think of different things that either interest me, that I think might interest others, or just things people suggest to us, and we've just been having a lot of fun. It's a small little side hustle, but we enjoy doing it.
That's good. It's when it ceases to be fun, it ceases to be. But you guys seem to be having a really good time designing different things, and especially taking feedback from people, because I know that you originally you made like a series of sort of like card display little adapters where you could like display your ISA cards, and I was like, oh, what would be really great is like Nubus or Microchannel, and you were like, Ron, no one's going to buy those, and I was like, you're probably right. You're
Yeah.
probably right. But it's really neat that stuff is out there, and you have it where enthusiasts can kind of play around, especially people that just want to display stuff, because you've
Yeah.
got a lot of neat things that are kind of geared towards that.
Yeah, I mean, some of those things were kind of like the things that I wanted,
Mhm.
and we got kind of started with those early on, and those were kind of the things we took to like VCF East when we really didn't have a ton of retro specific stuff,
Mhm.
because we really weren't sure what was going to be interesting to people. We had that LED display that was a thing that really took off. Adrian from Adrian's Digital Basement showed one that we gave him at Midwest, because I love Adrian and his channel.
Yeah.
And he showed it, and then we basically sold out, and it just got crazy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we enjoy making stuff. I mean, we were at Coco Fest. What was that? May the 4th, because it was Star Wars weekend there. And somebody wanted a case to hold a, I think it was a math coprocessor card for the Coco. And yeah, we're like, yeah, my wife made one. We sent it to him. He tried it out. It worked great. And it's something that there might be 5 or 6 people that have that card. But hey, if it helps people out, we try to make it.
Yeah. Speaking of rare cards, what if one wanted to display their Apollo lunar control module card? I mean, do you have a product for that? Are you ignoring the lucrative former astronaut market?
Well, we did have here we're near Lebanon, Ohio, which is where Neil Armstrong lived his latter years, and he used to have an office, by about 5 miles from here. But he's sadly no longer with us, and I would have done it for him. But you give us the specs, we'll make anything. Nice.
So you had mentioned that you were kind of an old-time programmer. When did you get started kind of in computing, and what excited you about computers and programming and kind of the more technical side of things?
Well, I mean, when I was little, some of you guys may have had the little Radio Shack electronic kits, like the 150 and ones.
Yes.
My parents bought those for me, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, I'm going to be an electrical engineer. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a doctor until I saw open heart surgery on TV, and I said,
"Oh, geez, no,
nope, not happening. We'll go electrical." So I enjoyed those, and then I obviously got into Pong when it came out, and the 2600 system. And then I wanted to get a computer because it just seemed like the next logical step. I lived out in the country, so we didn't have a lot of stores close. It was a journey sometimes to go get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed my first computer was a Timex Sinclair 1000.
Ooh.
I say that very sadly because it never really clicked with me. It didn't have any graphics modes. It had no sound.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had 1 or 2K. I'm not even sure anymore. Yeah, and there was a 16K memory module, but if you didn't put something underneath it, it would reset it.
I was going to say, speaking of stuff that doesn't click.
Yeah.
So
that membrane keyboard typing that program, and like the RAM back there is just like shaking. Oh, it locked up.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. And then my next computer was a VIC-20, which obviously was a big step up.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a lot of software, and we didn't have modems or anything at that point. And if I did, there was nothing I could have called without it being a toll call.
Right.
So everything I did, I had to save on cassette. So it was basically type something in, save it. So that system never really clicked with me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the Atari 800, and I got a disk drive. And I had software, and even though I lived out in the country, friends actually had the system. So there might have been a little bit of cassette and disc swapping, copy parties. But I started to program some on that. I didn't really love BASIC. It was okay. And I started to do some assembly. I used an assembler called Max 65, and I had a lot of fun doing assembly.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got a little bit older, I was getting ready for college. the Atari ST came out. So this was around 86, maybe 87-ish.
Oh, wow.
So I got an Atari ST, a couple disk drives, and I grabbed a compiler called Mark Williams C, which was a C compiler. And I knew some of my classes in college were going to be C classes on Unix systems, on terminals. So, I already had basically figured out C and learned a ton of on C all on my own. So by the time I got to the classes, some of the classes I literally would just get the syllabus or whatever, and I would just go home, do all the projects immediately, and then just come back for the final exam. And really enjoyed that. And then we started to get into embedded systems where we were using 68,000. They were called educational computer boards, ECB.
Yep.
So we were using 68,000 ECBs hooked into this Unix system, developing stuff in C and assembly. And I just really loved it. And that's when I decided, this was University of Cincinnati. That's when I decided I wanted to do software. I love digital, but I didn't like analog. Like, this analog, this is not for me. So I just kind of started going software. And then right out of college, I got a job at a company that makes analytical instrumentation. So a lot of the stuff you would see on CSI that spins those vials and sends the information to mass spectrometers and gas chromatographs, I was writing software for those systems.
Oh, wow.
And one of my favorite things that I did was I was able to design a small 68,000 base computer system to use in our projects for about the next 10 years. And I actually, now that I think of it,
Ooh, it's show and tell time.
I grabbed one off of eBay. I don't work for that company anymore. So let's see. So this is the system that I designed it. Somebody did the PCB layout for us. I didn't do PCB layout.
Wow.
So you can see the 68,000 is that square PLCC chip.
Yeah.
And that main board's just got all the control logic. And then there's in the back here, this back card, it's got a couple EEPROMs and some RAM. That was a memory card.
Yeah.
And then this other card here was a serial card, and it had an interface so we could communicate with the gas chromatograph and the mass spectrometers.
Very cool.
So this was really my favorite thing I kind of did from a hardware standpoint, was designing it. So I did the full schematic and basically spec'd out everything that was needed to make it happen. And then the PCB layout guy laid it out.
Very cool.
So, I kind of just did that for a while. And then eventually that company, they had me doing everything. I was doing software, I was managing people, and then they wanted me to keep the networks running because the IT guys all quit. So I left after a while and started doing consulting, and kind of did that for really the rest of the time. And then now it's kind of this little retro thing's kind of been the side hobby. And, I was so happy when my wife got into it because she is a business background. We met at college. She was taking finance and marketing, and, I was doing the engineering stuff. And we were working on, I was talking about some project, and I just asked her, do you want to try to design it on the mechanical thing? She was always watching me play around with Fusion 360. And she said, yeah. And she did it relatively quick for her first time. She had questions, and I gave her some links to some videos to talk about how to do some of that stuff. And she figured it all out and was really, really good at it. And for me, it probably sounds a little lazy. I was just like, oh, this is awesome. I don't have to do any of this anymore. I can just throw her an idea, and then she turns it out. And then I got to make if it's the PCB or the electronics or whatever to go with it. But it's just been a really great kind of a synergy, the two of us, that business term we always hear. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed going to the shows and like meeting Ron, who was one of really the first people who really took the time to talk to us and get to know us, and was just really, really nice guy. I've since learned that was all a facade.
Yes.
Yeah, he fakes it.
What a jerk, that guy.
But I mean, everybody in the retro community has been so great, so we've enjoyed it. Some of my favorite times used to be back in that computer club, which was called Centauri, where, for a long time I did the newsletter, I did the bulletin board, and eventually I became vice president, president. We would go to all the shows in the Midwest. Had a lot of fun. Some of you guys may have come possibly to Cincinnati for Computer Fest or Ham Fest. So we enjoyed all that stuff, but it was kind of fun back then because we didn't have the internet. All we had was bulletin boards.
Right.
So I really enjoyed the one-on-one, being able to talk with people and meet people. The thing that really, I think, affected me the worst, that I wish I would have been in an area that I had more people like me that wanted to do software and hardware and programming. Because where I lived, we really didn't have that. Just kind of me, in school, I was like the guy that was a techie. And I played sports and stuff, but I was also a techie. And then it was just, I feel like if I would have been more towards a city area where there was a larger population closer together, I could have possibly got together with other people interested in the stuff I was before I got old enough to be out driving and everything.
It was good. You kind of you crossed over into the next section, which was sort of like, it's like where you start and kind of like where you are now and things that got you excited about doing things. But in your personal collection, what type of retro PC stuff or retro Mac or Atari, Commodore, what do you collect? Like what really speaks to you as an enthusiast?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I mean, I'm an Atari guy at heart. So I love the Atari. It's probably my favorite computer that I still have is an Atari TT 030. It was one of their last systems.
Yeah.
GT.
Jealous.
I was going to say, you're probably going to have some problems with Sloopy now because he's all in on like that Atari 400 stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the 8-bits. This is the 30. This one was a 32-bit 68030 base system. And the one I have a Falcon, or the Falcon also, which was the last real computer from them. But the TT held a place in my heart because I loved the layout, the design of that system. And I also had a thing inside it. It has a VME slot on the back. And I had a thing called a Crazy Dots 2 graphics card. So this was a VME graphics card that you could plug into it. And then you could actually hook it up to a VGA, Super VGA style monitor and get much higher resolutions. So that's kind of like my pride and joy, that system. But I have Atari, I have Commodore, VIC 64, 128. I don't have an Amiga. That's one thing I probably will try to add to the mix because I was an ST guy, and Amiga and us.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was bad news. Had an Apple IIe. I got a GS, which I really love the GS.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my test system more than the 2E, but I like when I developed the interface for the digital joysticks for the Apple, which is this little guy right here. So, lets you plug 2 Atari joysticks into your Apple. But I used the 2GS on that. And initially I was like, this thing doesn't work. It's completely messed up. And then I realized that almost every game was written for the Apple II, which didn't have any interrupts. So everything was hard coded, and the GS was battery. I had taken it out. So it was defaulting to faster speed. So nothing was working. Once I slowed it down, it worked perfect. So it was actually, the circuit was fine. It was just the computer was too fast. So I've got those. I've got a lot of Coco stuff. Coco 2, Coco 3, kind of been getting into that. The people at Coco Fest were amazing. Really nice community. We had a lot of fun there. We weren't planning on going to Coco Fest because it's always so close to East. And since we are in Cincinnati, Jersey for East is 8-9 hours. Then we get back, and then you got to get ready for the next show. So, but we went ahead and kind of did it, and had a lot of fun at that. We even go to some retro computer or retro video game shows in our area. Different crowd. To them, retro is mainly PlayStation up, it seems like, but they do a lot of there is a lot of NES stuff, but when it comes to Atari or the retro systems, it's almost always just 2600s. So we do a different skew of products for that group. I got an Atari Jaguar, which is probably my most valuable console. I have 2 of them. In fact, someday I plan on probably selling the one that has a Jag CD because
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've got another
Does
one
it
that
work?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because those are notorious for just not working.
Yeah. No, it works. Because I got a game drive for my other Jaguar, which is that cartridge that lets you use an SD card for ROMs and disk drive or CDs. So I don't really need the other one. So in fact, the other one's sitting way back there with some other systems, but so I collect a lot of everything, and a lot of times too, it's like if somebody says they want something and I don't have it, like if somebody wanted something for the Coco. Originally, I didn't have any Cocos. I got a 2, got a Coco 3, and then I developed that joystick for the Coco systems, and it works with the Tandy 1000s also. So sometimes I'll just buy it just to develop a product for, but then I end up liking it so much I keep it.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Cool.
That never happens to us.
No.
So you've got some amazing things in your collection and some stuff that obviously really speaks to you, and that's always good. You talked about you go to a lot of these shows, things like that. If do you have any shows coming up where people can kind of come and see your wares in person, or if they're not traveling themselves, where can they find you guys online?
Okay, well, I mean, online it's techdungeon.xyz. I don't keep it that up to date, which is my problem. I'm horrible with social media. Some people, not in this crowd, but some people might know me from my YouTube channel back when I did gaming related stuff with my son. And it was, 2013, I think, when I started that. It was Minecraft, and we just took off. And, people will see that channel, which is what I'm using right now. I've renamed it. And they'll think that, oh, he's got 80,000 subs or 70,000 because it keeps. But those are almost all from the gaming days. So I used to use social media all the time because I did YouTube videos. I streamed on Twitch because I love gaming. I still play video games. I love video games. One of my favorites right now is The Division 2, which is an older game, but I still enjoy it because I love FPSs. But anyway, that was a bad segue. Our goal is to be at Midwest.
That's good.
So hopefully, if we can get a table or 2 there. I've talked with, I forget the guy's name, the guy organizing talks, because I had suggested maybe doing a 3D printing in retro computing talk.
Oh, yeah.
And they expressed some interest in it, but then they kind of didn't respond. So I kind of thought, they don't care. But then they got back to me, but they have had, I guess, so many submissions that I don't think they'll probably pick it up, want to do it. But, if they do, we'll do it. So Midwest is our next show. We go to East, we go to Midwest. We talked about Southeast, but it just wasn't in the cards. And then we go to some local Cincinnati shows. So in Columbus, Ohio. So like Korg is Columbus, Ohio Retro Gamers. In November, we'll be at Torg, which is the Ohio Retro Gamers. And we'll also be at Tandy Assembly.
Very cool.
Tandy Assembly is in Springfield, Ohio, I believe.
Yep.
I've heard rumors that may be moving to Texas, but we'll see.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
We won't go if it goes to Texas. That's just a little too far. Because that's the problem we have, is if we're going to go to Kansas or Texas or wherever, we have a lot of product. And it's just, it would take a lot of, I have a truck, but I probably have to get something to pull to put the stuff in. And then you got to travel with all that stuff. And depending on the time of year, 3D prints of some 3D printed stuff's not the best stuff to take in a heated chamber. So, depending on what you're printing with, Joe's Computer Museum in Ohio.
Yes,
it's true. It's a tax dodge. He really lives in Indiana, but so you with everything and all your travel and stuff, K-Fest is going to be real close to you. It'll be closer to you than it has been in a good long time.
Where's
you guys
that?
going to? It's in Springfield, Illinois this year.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
that's
you just
only
hop on 74 and just whoop, go straight there.
Yeah, that's only like a hour drive from your place, so that should be. You just day trip it. Yeah.
When is it going to be?
It's not this week because Sunday's the first day of the week. Not this week, but it's next week.
Oh, okay. So I got plenty of time to plan for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Yeah.
just throw a couple pairs of tidy whities in a bag and just head on over. That's all I'm doing.
Is that
It's
all
gonna
you're
be-
wearing?
gonna
Is
be-
tidy
That's all you
whities?
need.
Yeah, it's gonna be real awkward at the getting to know you dinner that first night, but people are really gonna get to know me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it. Do you know? Does it move around?
They're trying some different places. So this year, actually, Sean could probably talk about this more intelligently than I could. But
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time we were at Rockhurst in Kansas City, and before that at Avila, and then this year we decided we needed to find a facility that had more modern, a more modern facility, elevators, because we're all getting older and dropping up and down the stairs, carrying our gear kind of gets, it's kind of tiring after a while. So we're trying out Springfield this year. Next year we might be in Wichita.
oh, Wichita, yeah, nice. So that's a I was gonna say it's a beautiful drive, but I don't want to lie. It's a very flat drive.
13 hours of corn.
Yeah, it's a very
They say you don't like corn?
it's a very flat drive.
Is there anything like the largest ball of twine or anything else?
Well, actually, that as you when you're driving between like Emporia and Wichita, it's actually very it actually gets pretty scenic as far as it's not flat. It's a lot of rolling hills, and it's the I mean, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of cattle, but it's not really that bad. But yeah, when you're in Kansas, it's pretty boring. I agree.
It's okay. Actually, a couple of years ago, I went on a road trip with a buddy of mine who had friends in Lenexa and Wichita and different places, and we took like a week and a half and just drove. And so I saw a lot of cornfields, but I live in the Midwest. You see that stuff anyway. But Wichita is a beautiful town, and there's a lot of fun things to do there. So anybody that was watching that would be like, oh, I don't know if I'd make the trip out there. If you've not been there, you've got to go just to see what it's all about. They've got a really cool zoo. They've got lots of neat things. So plus K-Fest. That's the reason why you're going.
Yeah.
But if you just happen to be in town, you can check out that other stuff too.
Yep.
So if we have K-Fest in Wichita next year, it'll be the first time K-Fest has ever been in Kansas. It's usually over in
Yeah, right.
now it's in Illinois, and I mean we thought about changing the name, but we have brand recognition going with it, so we haven't changed it. But if you get a chance to come by, let us know. Registration is technically closed, but we could probably work some magic if you want to pop in.
Sean is a mover and a shaker, and he makes things happen.
This is almost deja vu for me because we did Coco Nation, their stream before Coco Fest, and they literally convinced me to go to Coco Fest. But there was about 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And we scrambled in that time to make. Well, Sloopy had promised. I don't know how many. Everybody knows Sloopy, I think. But
Yep.
he said if you come
Unfortunately,
he said you come to Coco Fest, you're going to
I love you,
sell
Sloopy.
20 joysticks, 20 joystick adapters, and he rattled all the stuff. And then he said, if you don't, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't quite hit his numbers. We didn't do bad, but he didn't buy the stuff either.
Well,
I'd ask for a check up front.
Yeah. I learned from that.
Yeah.
Plus, he also wanted the joysticks to be purple and green.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the big thing, and this is what I wanted to pitch to you live on stream, so that way you could feel pressured. Is this year? Normally, there is a activity at K-Fest that's called Solder Fest, where people get together. At least, and I might be speaking on my butt here, but my last understanding is there was not a formal thing this year for Solder Fest. That it was going to be more of like maybe an educational talk or something like that about solder safety, things like that. If you had kits and you wanted to come out, I am guaranteeing you that there will be a number of people at this thing that will want to go through and do that. Now, there's a logistics side of this because typically there's soldering equipment and stuff that people bring. But heck, I'd pack my stuff up for people to use, to have fun. So there's parts of the event that kind of like fit in with, like, you've got products and people put those products together and you walk away with like a really cool activity. So and it's a paid thing, so people pay to participate. So
I thought what you were going to say is I bring all the product that I haven't put together yet and have like people do all the soldering and building of the product for me that I then take back and sell.
well, if you wear a red suit
Damn.
with white piping around it, we might be able to get something going.
Okay, well, I can look into that.
Just tell them you came from the North Pole and we'll make it happen.
When you first started talking about the soldering too, I always think has everyone seen that one meme picture of the advertisement with the girl holding the soldering iron down at the?
Oh, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to check out our site, it's kansasfest.org.
Oh, it's still hot.
Yeah.
I will check it out. I mean,
And if you need me, if you need to get in, just let me know. We'll work something out. I am the president of the organization, so it's my position to abuse.
yeah. Sadly, I don't think we can do this one because you said it's next week.
No, not like this, like Sunday, first day of the week, not this week, but
16th
next
and
week.
21.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Solderfest is like so not like this coming Thursday, but like the following Thursday. That's kind of, I think, when that normally takes place.
Yeah.
Do you know what'd be really handy if you actually gave dates instead of saying not this day, but 3 days from Mars, and if you subtract
Okay.
3
the
days
one.
from Mars.
Trina, without looking at a calendar, what
Yeah.
day of the week is July 29th?
Ooh.
Are you stumped? Because I
Yeah.
can tell you the shorthand of just saying not this Thursday, but the Thursday following. You know what day of the week it is. It's easier to figure out.
No.
It is.
Listen. When you
No.
guys, when Canada gets themselves a metric calendar, you reach out to us. Until then,
This year, yes, Kat,
Until then.
exactly. That's what Ron's saying. It's not this Sunday, but it's a Sunday this year.
yeah.
That's right.
Because I think Michael might need dates to actually figure out.
Well, I wasn't too far off when I see 8 days. I thought it was around a week or so, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's probably on me too because I didn't ever think it wouldn't be anywhere but Kansas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if I would have known, it would have
It's
been
never been in Kansas.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
It's always been Kansas adjacent.
Yeah. So I mean, I would have just assumed it's in that area at least, and probably didn't even think about it
Mhm.
because I think I've heard you mention it before talking about some of your travels at some
Yeah.
of the shows.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, in the future, I definitely don't think we can swing this one because with my wife, she needs to put in a little bit more notice because she still has her 9 to 5.
Oh.
And
That's why I said day trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, I talked about, there's a show, I can't remember what it's called right now, that's in Chicago. It's a video game show, but they also have pinball too.
The Chicago Classic kind of
Something.
thing.
Yeah. And
something
it's
like
coming
that.
up in, I don't know if it's like August or September, somewhere around there. And I talked about just her and I just driving to it just to go to it.
Mhm.
And stay for a couple days, go to the show one day, and then just do Chicago.
Absolutely. It's an interesting town that seems well connected by like transit stuff, but only certain times of the day. There's certain times of the day it's just crazy, and it's just it's just like dog eat dog.
But what would be actually cool to do is what some of the other shows do, and maybe this could be something for a future Kansas Fest or whatever, is to make electronic badges, so that you could do a soldering project where people put their badge together.
Yeah.
So,
I think we should put Chris Torrance in charge of that, but with the stipulation that you have to complete your project before you're admitted to the event.
because you can drop so many little microcontrollers on there, whatever, and put some LEDs on it, little display or whatever, and boom.
How's your SMD soldering? Oh, not that good. Well, see you next year.
Yeah.
So Michael, there was a question from Ryan in the chat, and he wanted to know, when you had your VIC-20, did you also have your Commodore phone?
No, I didn't have a Commodore phone, but when I had my Atari 800, I did have an acoustic coupler modem.
Ooh.
So I had to dial it by hand and stick the headset down into the coupler. And of course, back then, the only thing you could really get onto was Dow Jones. I think they had their site and CompuServe.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do you remember your CompuServe number though?
I do remember my ICQ number.
Oh wow.
Now that it is completely useless.
Yeah, now that it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, the phones were only sold here in Canada, so.
I've
With
seen some
the-
of those
with the
pop up every
VIC-20s.
once in a while.
Yeah, right now, really stupid money.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Commodore phone upstairs. It just doesn't say Commodore on it.
Mm.
It's even the same color.
And rotary as well?
Yes.
Ooh.
And connected to a Bluetooth thing so that Graham can use it to talk on his phone.
Yeah.
Ron will attest. He saw him use it.
Yeah, I know. He took a call from the past while I was there at the house. He was just sitting there and it rang, and somebody on the other end was like, "Please hold on, Mr. Graham. I'm putting through your phone call from St. Louis."
And it was probably one of the artists that he likes to play on his Victrola.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We love you, Graham.
Well, I know it's short notice, but it's something to think about for future years. And like Sean said, K-Fest might do some new things in the next few years, move around, try different venues, things like that, just to try to maybe make the event a little more accessible for folks that haven't been able to go in the past just because of distance, or haven't been able to go in the past just because of different things going on in Missouri, all that. So we will keep you posted. I will give you more than a week's notice next time.
Well, I'll try to actually follow it better too, because like I said, I just would have never assumed it would have been in the Chicago, or where'd you say it was going to be?
Springfield.
Springfield, okay.
Mhm.
Where the Simpsons are, basically.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
well, they originally had it set up to go to Shelbyville, but then they banned the event because it's haunted. Now drink your glass of turnip juice.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Murph, which is a 3D printing show. It was in Goshen, Indiana. Didn't actually happen. I just because I think Joe, you said you're from Indiana.
Ohio.
Oh, I thought you were. Well, I thought that's where you were incorporated or whatever.
Again,
No, that's
dodge.
that's Ron and his sense of humor. No, I am from, I don't want to say exactly on stream, but I am in the middle of nowhere, northeast of Columbus.
Okay.
Originally from Westerville. So
He's so far out that when I drove through, I was like, "You're only like a half hour away from Columbus," but he acted like it was like it might as well have been the other side of the planet. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the part of
you have to drive a minimum of 30 minutes in any direction to get to anything that isn't McDonald's.
Mhm.
Well, when I was a kid, I mentioned I grew up in the boonies. We had a party line. I don't know if anyone even knows what a party line is.
Mhm.
So for those who don't, I mean, literally our neighbor had the same phone line as us. So when we picked it up, if they were on the phone, you could hear them, and you'd have to wait till they got off or you could make your call.
Each person would have their own distinct ring, so you could tell who was being called. It's like 3 rings, you can pick it up. But 2 rings, no. No, that's Mrs. Johnson down the street.
Yeah.
And we could never get, like, they kept always trying to get the phones to change where we could make calls towards the city for, as local, but they could never pass it because it was such farmland. All the farmers were like, as long as I can call the feed shop and the tractor repair shop, I don't care about anything else. So it never could get passed until much, much later. And then I could start calling bulletin board.
Yeah.
Plus, it was like a big deal because you had to climb all the way up to the top of the telephone pole to make the call. And then it's just Mr. Haney like giving you a hard time. Green Acres joke, folks. Da, 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 da.
And you would swim up in the water tower?
Yeah, why not? Oh, that's more of
Petticoat Junction.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What other Hooterville trilogy shows are we gonna reference tonight? That's the hitting comedy that you get here at the Retro Repair Roundup.
And I'm
So,
just gonna sit here and nod and pretend like I know what any of those shows are.
it's
Somebody
fun.
earlier mentioned WKRP in Cincinnati. That was like our
That I know.
Mhm,
that was our show for our town.
Yeah.
mhm. I swear, I thought that turkeys could fly.
Turkeys could
Yeah,
fly.
turkeys.
Everybody has to reference that, or they have to reference them cheaping out on the music. Where now we have DVDs that say "Hold my order, terrible dresser," because they didn't want to pay Elton John any money. But oh well. So, Mike, thanks so much for telling us a little bit about yourself. We've been at this for about 3/4 of an hour. How about we move on to our next regular segment so we can let everybody get on with their evening? Joe, tell us
Hi,
about
everybody.
what you're working on
Yes.
and new things that you have recently acquired.
Yes. So, actually, things have been fairly status quo in Joe Land. As has been a little bit obvious by the fact that I wasn't here on the last stream and was kind of phoning it in on the stream previous. I've been in a weird brain state and have been very busy just like keeping things going in Joe Land. So not a lot of new acquisitions or stuff. What I've been trying to do is I've been doing this marathon session to try to get this done by Kansas Fest, to get the clone of the Diamond Trackstar Plus working. This is an original board that has been stripped, by the way. See, and I have the board built. It's buried down there somewhere. But the actual clone is not functioning correctly. It's being stupid. It doesn't want to work properly. So I've been trying really hard to get this board cleaned back up and rebuilt so I can make sure that my test environment works and it's not just a problem with the machine I'm testing it on. So eliminating variables. But one of the big things that I've gotten in recently that I'm working on getting available and put up on the store, and that's not the one I want to show you because that's the one that's not manufactured incorrectly. No, that's the right one. Is that the right one? No, it's this one. Anyway, yeah, the A2 Picos. These cool little things by Oliver Schmidt and Raleigh Palev. They're really cool little boards that are effectively universal boards for the Apple IIe, kind of like how the Pico Mem is the universal does everything board for the IBM machines. These will do SD cards, and it'll do a memory expansion card emulation, and it does a Z80 card emulation and all of that stuff.
Video.
Yes.
Video?
No, this will not do video because it doesn't have the connector, but I have a separate solution for that, so that's fine. But yeah, so I'm working on getting these finalized so I can get them put up in the store for folks. Basically, it's just I didn't design it, obviously. Oliver Raleigh did, but I'm a North American distributor for them. So once I get those up and running, this will be good. I haven't had a lot of time to get to these, though, because honestly, I've been every day I'm hustling, just building orders and doing my my IT work stuff and just things like that. So I've been a little bit behind the 8 ball lately. I'm trying to think of cool toys that I've gotten recently that I could share, but I really haven't gotten anything other than just stuff to keep the museum running. Like if you want to consider a cool new toy, it's a generic monitor to put on my bench because that monitor doesn't work. Just stuff.
Is the box actually marked just monitor?
Yes, it just says monitor.
Somebody was asking if that board you showed will do serial.
Yes. Right now, no. But the board is completely documented. So in theory, anybody could write their own firmware for this board. It's like an open project. So because it's basically a generic bus connection between the Apple II and the Pico, and then you can make the Pico do whatever you want. So, yeah, yes, Trina.
It just reminded me, Serial. Today on Dave's stream, we watched Ian of Pico Gus fame do an update so that you can now connect your USB mouse to the Pico Gus, and it will emulate it it will think it's a serial mouse.
Yes, I missed that because I was again busy sleeping because I got my COVID vaccine this weekend, so I'm sleepy cave boy. But yeah, that's going to be cool. So if you've been waiting to get a Pico Gus, waiting for what? I don't know. Why would you wait? It's flipping awesome. They're great.
And where can people buy Pico Gus's, Joe?
Yeah, you can go to jcm-1.com. Hey, right there, and get those Pico Gus's. But yeah, so not only does it do like all of the sound stuff now it does mice. It does mices. It does mouse-a-doodles. So that's really cool. And of course, the last thing I wanted to note is JCM-1. You can get Apple-themed shoes now.
Or as I name them, Prapple shoes, because they look. Initially I thought they were Pride shoes,
and the
so we just Prapple
is the leaf. It's
green.
That's right.
That's how it works. So yeah, that's what's going on in Joe Land. Not too much. I want to get back to so many projects. The weather, what? It's not a weather machine. It's Tidler, the Spectrogen. I want to get back to that. But the last big thing on that was I finally got it to take weather data, thanks to Brett Stark and his awesome work helping me reverse engineer that. But there's still a lot of work to do on that. I've got tons of stuff for Sean here I still haven't gotten finished. I've got like 4 boards down here I have to repair and get back to him. Plus, here's the
more on the way.
Here's the next cool thing that Sean sent. The TurboRes GS. There's too much reflection. You can't see it. Very, very careful that he sent to me. So this is going to be probably the next reverse engineering project. So do you want like super awesome video for your Apple II GS that comes out of a like card or something? Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's do it. So yeah.
Only if it requires a bunch of 5-volt taps and ground taps.
Well, this is from what I understand, and Sean can clarify. I believe this was like the development board to design it, so that's why it has taps on it. But yeah, so
it's definitely one of the early ones. I think that one's like serial number 8.
Yeah, it is. This is serial number 8. I'm being very careful with it because I don't want to hurt it. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. It's just a lot of background making it happen stuff. So nothing really
minutia, kind of the day-to-day minutia stuff.
Yep. Just keeping the lights on so that I can still be around to share things with folks. So yeah, that's Joe's world.
Nice. Javier, what you got?
Oh boy. Well, I've been running around like crazy. I've been doing crazy things that people sometimes get mad at me, like 12
volts of ground.
Yeah, not this time, but
Oh, okay.
Some recreation of some floppies and software, and not software, floppies and floppy sleeves.
Yeah,
because I like to have original things, but I can't find them, or the ones I find are ugly, so I recreated them. Why not? Because I want to have those things for myself. And that takes me to also a little project that I took because I had some information that I needed, and I reached out to somebody that is down here. Well, not anymore, but Sean. And these are Sean's actually. And I asked him, can I borrow all these, because there's a lot of these that I couldn't find on archive.org or anywhere on the net, and the 1 or 2 I found were really pretty low res, low quality.
Yeah.
And
Javier, what are quote these for people maybe not in the know?
Yes, these are the SAM's computer facts, and these are basically information, technical information about these things like the RANA drives and all these kind of hardware. And what it comes over here is technical information and sometimes schematics of
Very cool.
of everything. So if you want to repair them, you want to know a lot more about the things, they give you all the technical information in here. So whatever it's in online, sometimes it's kind of transparentish, ugly, and a lot of the things are not really very good. So what I did, I like beautiful things and pristine things. So I'm not just going to scan it and throw them over there online. I'm going to clean them up and make them look like they come out directly from the printer right now.
Yeah.
So we have high quality. So there's something already, one or two things, but some of these are not available. And like I think the ranas are not easy to find.
Mhm.
So I'm scanning all of them in high quality, cleaning them all, and then put them up in archive. And
Are you doing that not just with the covers, but the actual contents inside
everything.
as well?
Everything.
Awesome.
I just did the covers because I enjoy doing those, but I'm gonna start scanning and high risk scanning, 1200 DPI, 600 DPI, and then I'm gonna go over there and
Cool.
clean them up.
Very
know.
Now, can you do the same thing for the Apple III schematic, please?
Yes, where is it? I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make this out of whole cloth. Actually, we've got a comment that is from Wow McGee. He's concerned about how these cleaned up reproduction items are going to affect the value of his originals that he never intended to sell. Javier, what do you have to say in response to that?
I say, tough luck. Yeah, again, these things are for people that want to read them, use them, and really understand them. No, I don't want them to people for just put them away and wait until whatever happens.
Mhm.
These are for using things, to really consulting them, and very good information. Cute. Oh, please. So talking about funny things. Okay, I did a little thing that make people laugh at me a lot today. So there's this little thing that they sell on China on AliExpress, and somebody, it's not my idea. Somebody did this this notcher.
Yes.
So this notcher comes with another part underneath, and it's just like little little thing that makes holes everywhere.
Yeah.
So what you do is you 3D print this part that allows you to put a floppy in here, and it will go exactly, well, not this way. It will go exactly where you gotta do the notch.
Oh,
And
yeah,
just
nice.
whoop, and do the notch. So I didn't like the way the other one worked, and also actually it was on the other side. So you have to put your floppy like this to make the hole. So it was a little bit cumbersome. So I recreated it, and I did it also a little bit long with the Apple logo.
Mhm.
But the funny thing is that this thing looks really weird in photos. So
Yeah.
I
I got a lot of comments.
thought when I saw that earlier today, I'm like,
Yeah, I know. It literally in the photo looked ribbed for her pleasure. Is all I'm saying.
And I didn't thought about it. I was looking always like this, and I say, well, it looks a little bit like the thing from Aliens.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Yeah,
but
no.
then I didn't saw it this way. So yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about making like a thing to cover this.
Yeah, do that with your hand again,
Just keep
Javier.
doing
Let me go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry.
I mean, it's archived forever on YouTube. It's fine, but
No. So that's the second one, and the last one. Well, you all remember that I did my beautiful floppy emu that a lot of people have been getting them. So I've been diligently working on a new project, and finally I can announce it. So I got new things.
I've heard about this. We need to, yeah. Mhm.
So I hope you're gonna love these guys. As you can see, this is a mouse.
Mhm.
A normal Apple II mouse. But if you look at this way,
It's optical.
Yeah.
oh,
Nice.
optical.
Mhm.
So it's
How
a
come
new
I don't have my-
recreation from
We don't
8BT.
have my test. Right.
It's an Apple. I recreated. This is 3D printed. It actually looks very nice, and I printed in the same tones as the original ones.
Yeah.
So it looks really close to it, and it's serial, so you can connect it to Apple IIe, Apple IIc, well, Apple IIe with a card, and an Apple IIc or 2GS, and it will work. Oh no, not 2GS. Sorry, the Apple IIe and 2C.
Are you going to come up with the den version of those as well?
The what?
I don't know what the hell the damn thing's called.
Are you talking about ADB?
ADB. Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
completely different thing.
It's completely different. So
And how does that connect to the computer? You said it's serial.
yeah, so
Joystick.
you get this. It has a little adapter inside, so it converts the signals
Mhm.
to a serial Apple II normal. I'm sorry,
like an
serial
Apple
to
II mouse.
USB. So the internals are USB mouse
Yes.
internals. Yeah. So it has a
But-
converter inside.
So
And it
that would connect to a regular Apple II mouse card.
Correct.
That's not serial, but okay.
Right.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
But
No,
bus
a
mouse.
normal,
Bus mouse.
Yeah, a normal Apple II mouse.
Yes. Okay.
And I already tested it, and it works with all the mouse applications perfectly.
So if that's the case and it will work, yeah, that's ADB.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is, what about ADB?
No.
No, it won't,
Completely different thing.
because there's a lot of them already. But these ones are hard to get, and also they're not optical. So that's
Yeah, but I want an optical ADB mouse. That's what I want to get rid of the balls.
Ooh. Well, we'll think about that.
Well, I guess just that all comes down to Canadian healthcare.
That's-
But there are options for USB, or I'm sorry, for ADB optical mice, but they're real narrow right now.
yeah.
Okay.
But that is a project that I've repeatedly brought up to Joe.
What
we
was the
need to work
project again? I was lost in thought about Macintosh librarian talking about liking balls. What?
You saw that as well. I just started laughing. I was like reading it. I'm like,
But no, Kate brings up a good point. If it works with the 2C and the 2E,
It should work.
It will work with a
Yes.
128K 512K.
It will work.
Mhm.
I gotta test it.
I've tested the little adapter board. Chris, I think is his name, the gentleman who designed it.
Yep.
He sent me one for testing, and I lent him my Apple IIc mouse for design purposes.
Okay.
And I tested it on a 128 512, and it did work.
Okay.
That's cool.
Mhm. So as long as his little interposer board,
It is.
doesn't
It's in
hang,
there. Yeah.
then it's going to work just fine.
Yep.
And
That's what I'm using.
so, were you asking Ron something about how there's it's very hard to get an original Apple II mouse card? Is that what you were talking about?
No, I'm talking about
ADB.
optical ADB mouse for Macintosh.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not Apple II GS, but definitely for Macintosh. So we talked about it a long time ago. Don't worry, I'll bring it up again.
I'm sure you will.
About it again.
So that's
We'll
all I
talk.
got.
We'll talk about it at K-Fest because at that point I can just pin you down literally
hell no.
and get you
And-
get you to talk about it.
So,
And don't forget,
we
Ron
have-
is only wearing
yeah,
his tidy
yeah.
whities
You know,
when he
we've
pins
got-
you
we've
down.
got- we've got shared rooms this year.
Oh,
Oh. Anyway,
And I just made everybody uncomfortable. Moving
I've
on.
asked Joe in
Moving on,
previous
sure.
years, hey, do you want to split a room? And he goes, I need my personal space, Ron. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. So, Mr. Fahey, what do you got?
Like what have I got recently, or what am I working
Yeah,
on?
like
or-
whatever you want to talk about. Tell us about
Yep.
new gets. Tell us about whatever you're working on. Tell us about K-Fest, interesting things, whatever you want to talk about. This
Well, I
is you.
am prepping for K-Fest. I've already started packing, but the only thing that I've gotten recently is that I just picked up a couple of the next generation of the Apple Squeezers that I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be plugging that into my Platinum Stealth GS kit, thanks to Mark's upgrade kits. I really like the Platinum Apple II with the numeric keypads, so that's become my daily driver. I like to have an Apple IIe and a 2GS, and switching back and forth with keyboard memory, muscle memory, so I'm keeping my machines kind of current. Let's see. That's really the only thing I've been working on, is just getting that thing up and running.
That's right. This year you actually have to pack to go to K-Fest because it's like a whole state over now. It's
Yeah.
not next door.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not an
you can park in the
inconsequential
garage now,
drive.
it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an inconsequential drive from your place to Rockhurst anyway. Like I wouldn't want to get halfway there and then forget, like, oh, I forgot something. but still, yeah, this is a big change.
Well, this year I might be hauling up the garage giveaway. We recovered the trailer from Oklahoma where it was being stored. Now it's up here. And if anyone's in the area and they want to help us get that thing packed up, we could use one or two extra pair of hands the Sunday before Cape Fest, which would be
15th, 14th?
14th.
Yeah, 14th.
We're going to try to load up a pickup and the trailer. That way, we have plenty of things for people to take them and play with.
It's way cool. The garage giveaway is like one of the most famous things. It's such a tiny part of the event, but it seems like people like just all the stories that come out of that. Like Kate, who was in the chat earlier, like last year she got this Apple plotter, and it has been like this year-long journey for her, like working with other people in the community, restoring that plotter, putting it together, doing samples, doing all kinds of stuff. So it's like, it's not that you just maybe got something fun, but it's like an adventure of like discovery with some of that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And this year there'll be things coming from the Roger Wagner collection, a lot of memorabilia that he had collected over the years, documentation for people who are into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of Mac stuff from him because he was in an Apple developer with him for well into the Mac era.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to be tapping into some of the Tony Diaz stuff and bringing out.
Cool.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Oh no, somebody stole Rudy's U.
Trina, what do you got?
So what have I been working on lately? Finding a job. Because as of last Monday, I no longer have solid employment. So, yeah. And been busy hustling, selling laptops like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So getting that done. So if anybody watched my stream Wednesday or I don't know. I've been streaming randomly through the week. I was working on a MacBook Pro, and I lost this little doodad that goes over for the hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Could not find it. Was tearing apart things today, and Kate was correct. It was on the floor, but it got buried in between Top's two computers. Recent gets though, I do have something kind of cool that was I received from Eric of Eric's Edge fame.
Ooh, nice.
Sony Mavica, the floppy disk edition.
Yeah. You gonna live stream from that?
I haven't even opened it. It's still sealed.
And every capacitor is bad.
Most likely. And the battery's probably blown up, but it's in the box.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Schrodinger's cat. I will never open it, so the battery will never explode. So that's been my most recent get. But yeah, just been busy trying to find a job and applying like crazy.
So if people were interested to see the things that you're selling so that you can continue to
I would love
have
to
a livelihood.
I would love to put a link in the comments, but I'm not a moderator, so
yeah, it's a real damn shame. But if people were to go to or Google computers with pride,
yeah,
they can probably find all the interesting things that you have for sale right now.
And
What's tech services, all that type of stuff too.
Yeah, and it's also been updated quite a bit because last Sunday, Jeremy of Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, like, do you still have this and this? And I'm like, oh, I haven't updated that page in forever. Let me do that. Mm-hmm. So there was a couple extra pages that got updated. Thanks
she has a Microsoft LifeCam VX, folks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. Mike, what have you been working on?
Oh boy.
Or cool acquisition stuff.
Acquisition wise, I mean, everything I get right now is parts for making other stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I haven't really acquired any new cool retro tech. Um, in the dungeon products that we've been working on, one of our more really one of our most popular products are the joysticks. So we sell like an Atari joystick. This is our most popular one. So it's an arcade joystick,
Mhm.
Look at those
and
chonky buttons.
yeah, that one's the most popular because so many people have Atari compatible systems,
Mhm.
be it Commodore, Atari, ColecoVision, whatever. But we've also made variations. So we make like a bigger one. And this was a test of putting an Atari logo. I didn't quite like the silver. We switched it to white. So this is kind of my test unit. But we make this particular one in a bunch of different formats. So like Ron, you've got the Apple version.
Mhm.
It's a digital joystick.
Mhm.
We make a version for the Coco. We make a 7800 version of that one. We make a Commodore 64 multi-button version of that one. Another version for the Atari 8-bit computers. It's called the Joy 2B Plus. It's a 2-button joystick, and the one that I just made last night is we've been getting a lot of people asking about this one,
Oh yeah, Coleco.
this system.
Nice.
So for the ColecoVision, obviously they've got kind of like that controller, a lot like the Jag and the 5200, where it's got that numpad.
Mhm.
So on the back, there is 2 buttons you can see, and this lets you start a 1-player game and restart
Mhm.
a 1-player game. And if you're doing a
Nice.
2-player game, you can use the other controller. So we just got this one working last night. And what I try to do with our 3D design, I try to use as many of the same parts for each product as I can. So all those joysticks that are this double size, the Apple, the Coco, 7800, this one, it's the same case, except this one obviously has the 2 holes. But internally, there's mounting points for different boards. So I make like different PCBs, but I try to make them all the same exact size so that I can mount it and make this for whatever system you want. So we've been selling a lot of the joysticks. Our other most popular thing too has been the trays.
Mhm.
This is a Commodore tray, but it works with the Atari 8-bit also. So I've got kind of Atari Commodore on this side and some Atari 8-bit on that side, and some stuff that doesn't really fit in those categories in the middle. But we sell a ton of these trays, and we put a logo on it. If people want the Commodore version, we put a Commodore badge on it. If they want the Atari, we put the Fuji. If they want it we have different versions. We make versions for like the NES, the SNES. So we do consoles, computers, but those have been really popular. And really, the other thing that's been popular is the joystick adapters for the people. This is our TI version, so it's made to kind of mimic. Yeah, we do have a TI 99 4A tray, Scarlett. We have a lot of people buy the joystick adapter here for the TI, and we also make one of these in the beige if you have the other TI 99. And we make a version of it for the Coco. So this one lets you hook up, plugs into your Coco on that end, and then you can plug an Atari joystick into it. Works on the Tandy's 1000s also. And then I showed you guys earlier the Apple version of the adapter. So we sell quite a few joystick adapters: TI, Tandy, Apple. Some people buy the Atari joysticks and those adapters. Some people use their own Atari joysticks. The Apple and the Coco adapters do support a second fire button on pin 9. Some people who have joysticks that have that, you can plug them in, and now you've got a 2-button joystick going into your Apple or your Coco.
Way cool.
We've done a few other little things. I mean, I make these, and we don't sell them for a lot, but we try to take them to shows. These are Pico carts, so it's got a Raspberry Pi Pico in there, and it basically lets you emulate I don't know if you can see it. You see that USB-C connector inside there?
Mhm.
Plug it into your computer. Windows, Mac, Linux shows up as a disk drive. Copy your Atari 8-bit computer ROMs, executables, disk images, eject it, plug it into your computer, and then it has a menu system. So this is somebody else's design. So I had the boards made, and then we give $5 for each one to the guy who makes it. So,
Very cool. Oh,
I mean, that's some of the things we've been playing around maybe with making some FujiNet boards to help the community, because it seems like they always run out of stock. But
yeah.
so we probably will look at the Coco when they finalize. I've got one here that I built on their, this is for the Coco, and it's the Rev 000 model, but it's not their finalized. It uses the serial port for bit banging the disk images. So it's a little slower. The new one's not going to need the cable at all. It's going to just go right into the cartridge port.
Nice.
So we'll probably offer a few of those, but it's been crazy. I mean, it keeps us busy. Thankfully, I mentioned I don't do a lot of social media, and one of the reasons was I don't think we could keep up if things got crazy.
Hey, maybe you need to hire somebody that can do this remotely to look after your social media. Just saying hi.
Thanks.
Oh, dang it. It did it too fast. I'm sorry, Mike. I wasn't trying to cut you off.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, like I said, I mean, that's just some of the stuff. I mean, like I said, the joysticks, the trays, joystick adapters, we do the display that you can't really see because of my exposure on my camera or my webcam. I can't tweak it enough, but that is probably one of our more popular things that's starting to slow down a little bit. And that's one reason why I'm going to transition to a higher res version of it.
Yeah.
But that one's got like about 230 images. Adrian's Digital Basement showed it in one of his mailbox opening videos. Takes about 30 minutes, I think, to cycle through everything on it. I give people programming information if they want to reprogram it themselves. It does support.
Did your sales receive the Adrian effect?
Yeah, when he showed it, and we saw him at Midwest, and I caught him. And I just said, hey, Adrian, I got something we want to give you. If you don't want it, you won't hurt our feelings. We can ship it to you because I know you're flying. I showed it to him, and I said, you don't have to show it. I'm not saying make a video about it or anything. I just want to give it to you because we love your channel and love the content that you make. He showed it, and then literally that night and the next day, just everything sold out. And then as soon as I made more, those sold out. So he cleaned us out, and I had to get more product ordered. We get a few hits every now and then still from that because people are going back and watching those videos, or maybe somebody just found out about Adrian, so they're catching his content. But it's slowed down. It's a great product at shows, so we take a bunch to Midwest and East and stuff because it's fun to watch people who see it, because you'll just see like young kids, older. Yeah, I mean, they get this smile on their face when they're like, that's Pac-Man. Or that's, they see stuff they like. I had a teacher who bought a couple that would take them to the classroom, and just the students would always say, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and had fun talking to those kids about that.
If you're running an arcade and you need something in the front window of your arcade, that.
Your retro gaming store, whatever it might be.
Yes.
Yeah. Check them out. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun making that. The one thing I can't easily show that it's more of a niche thing is the next to that display to the right of it, you'll see a shelving to make those retro shelves. And you need to get me your address, Ron, so I can.
We'll talk about that. I've got some at work that have like kind of the late 90s, early 2000s, the white Apple logo. They're just little shelves, and they've got interlocking things, and you can stack. And I use them at work all the time to like stage things I'm working on. So
yeah, that one's a fun project, but it's a bigger print because it has to hold a shelf. Takes a while, so it's not something, and it's heavy to ship because a lot of people don't have Menards near them. So unless you're handy with woodworking or have a Menards, you have to make your own. And some people do buy it without the legs and make their own, but I love them because they stack. And I can't really show it easily, but over here on this side of me, there are bigger versions of those shelves where I've got a Timex Sinclair, what was it, 2068, TI, couple Cocos, couple Commodore 64s, Ataris, 2GS, all of them just all stacked on those shelves. And then on another set, I have like cartridges, consoles, all the hardware to do the HDMI capture and RetroTink and all the different things needed to get signals converted to something usable.
Very cool.
Sloopy says hello, Michael.
Yes.
Sloopy.
All right. Give me a minute. Sorry, I didn't mean to speed up things there, but I did want to say that I actually
Draw
have
on that shirt.
yeah, only Max. I have some new design stuff that is over at Joe's store, jcm-1.com. I have new versions of my TTL adapter boards. This is just because these are all panel built. It pops off and then it looks like that.
Nice.
But this should be the final revision of the TTL board because basically this is just based on a year of community feedback on what they wanted to see. The new version is actually kind of cool. It's kind of tough to see, which I apologize, but it actually shows the pinout on the bottom for people that want to make their own custom cables.
And the bottom is pre-burned.
Well, this was me like unsoldering and redoing some stuff, testing some things. So, but
ground.
Does that cost extra?
It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the cute little, there's your Mac hooked up with an external display. I've also got my little battery kits. Again, these are all just for the panel build stuff. When you buy them from Joe, they don't have all the extra stuff on them. But
unless you annoy me, and then I will send them with the panels still attached.
Yeah, Joe will send them. But what I did is I actually, I'm a big PowerBook 100 series fan. And so what I really wanted to do is Thomas from Amiga of Rochester reached out to me because he's like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we had like a way you could like, if you've got like an internal blue SCSI on your PowerBook, you had a way that you'd easily mount like an SD card adapter. And I said, yes, that would be great. And so I 3D printed some stuff and that's okay. But then I also made these GLC PCB. Just like it's a little PCB that you can pull the modem out of your PowerBook and put this in there. It's got a little place that indicates where you would kind of glue your SD card extender in place. And then, yeah, you got a cute little thing that you can do. And then because I can't leave well enough alone, I also made a version of my battery kit specifically for those 100 series PowerBooks. When I say 100 series, I mean like all the machines except for the actual PowerBook 100 and the PowerBook 150 and the PowerBook 190, because they're not technically like 100 series PowerBooks. They're kind of shoehorned in and they're other hardware. So, but yeah, so you've got like a battery kit where you can replace your long dead lithium battery inside your PowerBook with something more modern. And I also have one last project, and this has been the biggest thing that people have asked for since forever, is a combination board that takes my ATX adapter and converts it so that way that you can it's an ATX, or I'm sorry, takes the ATX power supply, lets you power like an SE or an SE30, and integrates the TTL adapter board so that way that you have like your video and everything is split out and all that. It's very nice. It's got a little area. This is the prototype that I've been playing around with. It has a little thing you can remotely mount like a switch. There's also going to be a version that will have like a header for external LED and other things like that. So I'm working with Gut Bomb. We're going to make a cute little case for this. And we've got another project that I won't talk too much about just because it's still kind of in the planning phases.
Secrets?
It's hush.
I don't really know how secret it is because he's shown it off a number of times, but but I'll wait until I have permission from him to talk more about that. But it integrates a lot of my CatMac ideas into one neat little product that I think people will really like. But that's the stuff I'm working on. Something I got recently, which is really, really great, and I want to make sure that everybody knows about it so that way that he makes more, is if you guys remember, there was a card that came out a little while ago. It was called the Booty. David Mutimer.
Booty.
Yep.
Made these cards and then stopped making them. He had some disagreements with the community. It's okay. We're not going to talk about drama. But what we are going to talk about is how somebody in like Brazil took his design and ripped it off and made some cheap copies. And that did not make him any happier. which is unfortunate. But this is a really neat card. This is a smart port emulator, basically, for your Apple IIe, your 2GS, whatever, that will allow you to mount.
A drive.
I think they have to specifically be ProDOS ordered. Smart port volumes, so 32 megabyte little disk volumes on those machines. And this includes, if you have a 2GS, or I'm sorry, an Apple IIe, you got to remember that those machines don't have smart port built into ROM. This patches your ROM out, so that way you have smart port and all that. But our good buddy Mark at MacFX worked with David, came up with a mutually beneficial plan to make more of these. And these are a little bit more expensive than the originals, but they're available. So I would go over to macfx.com and check these out if you're looking for a way to very quickly add drives to your Apple IIGS. Now, there's a lot of people out there that have like SCSI adapters, things like that. Those are very handy. But if you don't have those things, this is maybe a good alternative. You may not have a CFA 3000. You may not have a microdrive turbo or any of those things. But this will let you mount ProDOS disk images and boot from them. Which, I mean, when I say disk images, of course, I mean smart port images. But there is a neat thing that was demoed at KFest last year that is basically Total Replay, but for Apple IIGS games. And this is perfect for that because guess what? This lets you mount 7 different ProDOS, or I'm sorry, 7 different smart port drives. And that's exactly how many drives there are for this project. So you could just buy one of these, and it's like a turnkey thing for your 2GS. You can play all those great games. They also include a cute little MacFX flash drive.
Fancy.
So anyway, check that out. It's pretty fun. I got mine
legit.
I got mine in the mail the other day, and I haven't had any time to play with it because that is the world we live in. The last thing I wanted to show off real fast is something I've been working on for a hot minute, and that is
This is so cool.
This will be neat, but there is a project that is called the Pico Mac, where you take a Raspberry Pi Pico, which uses the RP2040, and you basically just stick it on here on the card edge. You flash the Pi with their distribution for their stuff, and basically here is a VGA output, and you plug a USB on the go, USB hub, or if you have a keyboard that has a hub built in. But basically, you can just it's a Mac. It emulates like a Mac 128 or a 512. And so the project page, it had like a janky little thing built on Perfboard. So I designed this this nice thing that I had made over there at JLC PCB. And eventually that will be something that people, I guess, can go and purchase, I guess.
Yes.
That's it. It'll eventually be over there at Joe's store, jcm-1.com. If one last thing, and I'll get back on track here. If you are a person who has a product and you're like, I'd really like to find a way to monetize this thing, but I'm not 100% sure how, you should definitely reach out to Joe. Joe has been very, very kind to work with a lot of people like me that it's just like, I just have this one product and I don't really want to deal with shipping things. I don't want to deal with the administrative overhead of all that type of stuff. I just want to make a thing. And I definitely don't want to make a Tendy store. So Joe can probably assist you with those wants and needs.
Yeah.
Joe is the guy.
And the entire idea behind that too is that in my world of experience that I've been doing things for a billion years, product procurement and order shipping and all that stuff is kind of in my wheelhouse. That's a thing that I know how to do. I also know how to do the website maintenance, the store setup and monitoring, the the payment gateways and all that stuff. That's kind of my thing. So what I can do is I can be your source to get your product out there into the world. And here's the cool thing about that is that the more of us that band together to put this all on one site, the better your chances at getting your product out in the world there are, because people can go to one place and save on shipping and get everything from one place. So that's kind of the idea. That one of our community friends called it the Amazon of retro tech. So you know, and that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be the place that people can go to get these cool things that are hard to get from other places. So
yeah, it's nice to be able to just be like, because my stuff doesn't make economic sense, because like my battery adapters are like $3 and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to do that and then spend $10 for shipping. But if you're buying something else from one of our friends, you can just like bip, 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 bip. You can just add some things and then it makes more economic sense. So
yep.
So we're coming up on 90 minutes. Let's go through. Let's go ahead and make sure that people know where to find us, and then let's wrap up.
Just before we do that, I can someone make me a mod so I can share my
now,
thank you. I just want to share my link tree so I don't have to go through everything and just go to the link.
Oh, I'm trying to do this as me. I need to do it as Retro Repair.
Right. Yep.
Thank you.
Oops.
Is it just Computers with Pride? What is it?
I have a link tree to my Blue Sky, to my YouTube page.
No, but what's the URL for it?
Oh, that's the problem.
Okay, well, you don't even know, so that's cool. We'll talk about it after the show.
I have it.
Joe, how can people find you online? Somebody that knows, like, even what their website is called.
What? Who? Me? Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you, Joe.
Hey, everybody, it's Joe from Joe's Computer Museum. The guy who used to do videos on YouTube, but now because he does a whole bunch of other cool stuff for lots of other people, he doesn't do those on YouTube anymore. However, if you want to follow me and find out what I'm doing and see all the cool stuff that I have available on my store, including all the other cool stuff that all of my friends like Ron and Rudy and Ian of Pico Gus and everybody else has, you can go to jcm-1.com and find out all about it.
Neat. Javier.
Hello, everybody. I am Javier Rivera from Adventures in Retro Computing, and here I am. You can see me in all these places. Also,
stop showing off your chest.
I'll show off mine. I'll show off mine after.
No.
Exactly. Adventures with Retro Computing. But the best is 8BTs. The best T-shirt store in the web. 8BTs, the way to go.
Yeah, but you
And
can't,
you can
buy this. You can't buy this shirt at 8BT.
No, well, okay. The best, the best, and then you're the second one. Okay. So anyway, you can also get 3D stuff in 8BTs, like the drive, a 3D created joystick, and pretty soon it's gonna be also the mouse.
Did you almost say joystick?
Joystick, no, not joystick.
I hope not. We got in trouble with like human trafficking people the last time.
That's right. Anyway, that's where I am. Next.
Cool. Sean.
I'm A2Pen at hotmail.com, also A2Pen on Facebook. I don't have a site set aside yet, but I'm thinking about doing it. Right now, I'm going to concentrate on helping Javier get more things scanned and documented and put out to the community.
Very cool. Trina,
you can find me at my link tree, which weirdly didn't actually let me select anything. They just went, here it is. So that's why I don't actually know what the address is, but all my link doodles are there. Stay tuned because, as I said, right now I'm out of work and I like to do live streams on what I'm working on. Just
Trina, do you want to do tech support for my IT job?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
My client?
Yeah. We'll talk off stream. Yeah, seriously. But yeah. So I've been streaming erratically. I am receiving 2 parcels this week, tomorrow and Tuesday. I will be unboxing them live Thursday because I want Dave to be able to actually watch one of my streams. So I'm gonna do it during, I don't know, probably around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you are like Joe and work for yourself, just throw in YouTube on the background and watch me.
Yeah, here you go, Trina. You can use the Commodore phone for IT support. I'll ship you a VoIP ATA. You plug into that phone, and you can take all your tech support.
There you go.
Sweet. Sounds good to me.
Mike.
Well, you can go to techdungeon.xyz. That's our main website. It's got some links to some of our products. I should be better about putting all of them in there, but it'll take you to our different storefronts. We basically just use Etsy and eBay right now. We're in the process of expanding that, but with life and everything else and all the other things, we haven't got to that yet. But yeah, check us out there. You can see us at more than likely VCF Midwest, VCF East, lots of retro shows in our Columbus, Cincinnati, Ohio area, and we'll be at Tandy Assembly and Cocoa Fest.
Pretty cool.
And if you need somebody to look after your social medias, hi.
Hi.
And
Yeah,
also help
Mine's
you
been
get
slowly
there.
going that way.
Oh no. Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Computer Videos. You can find out what I'm doing over at ronscompvids.com. That's it. So thank you everybody for taking time out of your Sunday evening. Remember, you have many choices when it comes to your retro computing content, which is why we really appreciate when you spend time with us. So,
And remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
they should. Hopefully we will reconvene 2 weeks from tonight with sort of a after action of K-Fest. The 21st is the last night of, it's kind of the pack up, go home, deal with the feels of like maybe not seeing some of your friends for another year kind of thing, at least in meat space. But I think that maybe we can get together and talk a little bit about that. We'll see who has time. So
Sure.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you once again. It was great seeing you. And as Joe always says, Apple II forever. Is that you?
No. Joe just says
Apple
pull down your pants and slide on the ice.
Oh,
What?
Apple II forever.
Apple
No
II
idea what
forever.
you're talking about. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great night,
everybody.